Today, we're going to look at the Bazi Chinese astrology of the United States for the month of October 2025, and also look at our leader. And so this is a really important video because I had to stop what I was doing today to deliver this message that feels a little bit like an alarm call. And I'm not one to fearmonger or get anybody more stressed out than we possibly already are, but this is our moment, friends. We've arrived. And it's really, I think, going to hit a peak in October. And so if you've seen the video I put out about the Bazi Astrology for October, you know that this whole month is, if you boil it down to one word, it's justice. Justice. And when I look at the astrology for the United States specifically, there is a message here that I want to get out to you. Okay, so welcome. My name is Lydia Griffith, and this is the Feng Shui and Bazi Chinese Astrology channel. And on this channel, yep, we read charts. Charts of countries, charts of wars, charts of people, because it helps us to better understand our own lives, our own astrology, and how to navigate this challenging time. So I'm going to weave into this some practices for you to do through this month to keep yourself grounded, to keep yourself focused on what is most important for you. So if this speaks to you, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell so you don't miss a single video. I've got something for the Bazi Astrology for this month, the Flying Stars Feng Shui, so your home is aligned this month. And there are all these echoes when you look at the Feng Shui of your home. There is a strong caution in a lot of areas, a lot of the directions of the Bagua that speak to disharmony, arguments, relationship issues, and mental health struggles. And then when we look at the Bazi Astrology, we see that echoed again. The struggle, the desire to achieve harmony in relationships, the need to stand up for people who are disenfranchised, to stand up for yourself. If you feel that there has been an injustice and it is time, you just can't hold back anymore. And last month of the Rooster was such a wake-up call. Truths revealed, the layers being pulled back as we see more and more clearly the story of what's unfolding. And so there is a direness to this because the United States, we all go through these 10-year luck cycle periods. And it's pretty, a luck cycle can bring great success. It can bring illness. It can bring children. It can bring family. It can bring travel. It can bring lots of things. It can also be the rise and fall of careers. And this is the rise and fall of a country. And I know that that's kind of dramatic statement, but I thought of a good analogy for this. Have you ever lived someplace where at the time that you were living there, let's say there was a woods across the street that they came in and started tearing it down to put up a development, or for 6 months, they were relining the water system going through your street. And so your street was torn up. What is going on in your home, right? What's happening for you personally is everything right now. Because if you allow yourself to plug into this chaotic noise, it is as if you were in that construction site, bringing all of it into your house. Why would we want to do this? That is not how we rise out of this. This is not how we're going to rebuild. So what's happening, I'll give you a preview. 2027 is when we change into this new luck cycle. And when that happens, it's going to feel a little bit I've spoken about this in previous videos, like a revolution. And I really see it as a re-identification. It's a new America arriving. And I think over the 10-year period, 2027 to 2037, it could be a revival or a renaissance. I like to think things in positive ways, and why not? Why not imagine that in a couple of years' time, we would begin to coalesce in community and in our homes, in our lives, and begin to rebuild the America that we truly want to see. And that, on a tribal level, has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with how people are living their lives, how they work, how they have health care, how they have education, and all the services that we need in order to sustain society. So what is happening? So we have to pull back. We've launched our minds all the way 2 years forward. And yes, it can be helpful to have an idea of where we're going. But ultimately, we've got to come back to this now moment. This now moment, October 2025. There's some really big things going on, okay? And I'll put a link below to some of my United States videos. I don't want to repeat all of the data. I want to just give you this specific message. For the United States, that is in a luck cycle of the sheep, which is the same as our leader's day pillar, the sheep, which is the enemy or the opposite animal to our ox day. It is a challenge to our very identity of what it means to be an American. 2017 to 2027 is, who are you? Who are we? What is America? And all the ways that it is being challenged. So when we look at the dog comes in. So we have the ox, now the dog, and the sheep. 3 earth element animals. And this is called an earth penalty. It's kind of like an earthquake. It is a moving of the earth. It is things being shaken, not stirred. Coupled with that is that there is a full fire trio, because the United States is born in the month of the horse and has the life pillar of the tiger. And that is a hidden aspect of your chart that speaks to why you're here living this karmic life. So those 3 animals together create a full fire trio. The monkey, which is our year, and the rooster, which is our hour, with the dog month of October, forms a full metal trio. 2 things, this is coming. If you've been watching the last month, I feel like I've been talking about this a lot. This is explosive. When you put yang fire and yang metal together, it is like a bomb going off. It is tanks rolling down streets. It is, explosive. Now, that being said, I do think that there is going to be a lot more potential violent engagement in all those different ways that can be, whether it's salacious headlines, more chaos, more troops in cities, or what. But it also really makes me wonder what is going on with the economy, what is going on with investments, with cryptocurrency, alternative forms of currency, the stock market, what is going on, because it could be a really strong month for growth. And after all, I feel like, finances are one big thing. And then the government and its potential, you could say, overreach with how it's bringing, ICE and the, armed services into cities is another piece. But when we look at the yang fire of this month, that yang fire speaks very strongly of, well, in a light sense, the divine feminine, education, land, development specifically, but it is very strongly in this case, in a collective sense, about government, politics, all of that. And that is sitting on top of yang earth, which is the shadow side of the American culture. So if you think of the positive aspects of what it means to be an American, I think of loyal, hardworking, innovative, progressive, the core qualities of what has made us a strong country. A melting pot of cultures, diversity for sure because of that. But this is our shadow. So the government and politics having this strong presence of yang fire that nourishes the earth of the dog, it's, and in literal terms, it's like you could say that the government is nourishing the shadow side of this country right now in this month of October, which begins on the 8th and runs until about November 7th. Tucked inside of the dog are two other qualities, yin metal and yin fire. And again, that is sparky. There's sparky. It's a lot of undercurrent stuff going on. There's, there's something going on with banking. There's something going on with funding. There's something going on with action. Things taking action. And so when you have metal and fire tucked underneath the dog and the forming of both a fire and metal full trio, there is something that is being woken up, actualized. And then we have the full earth penalty, which brings an enormous amount of stress that can tank your well-being. If this were in your personal Bazi astrology, it usually really is about family dynamics that are detrimental to your health and well-being. And this is what I can tell you. We're going to talk about Trump. I'm going to mention his name only once, the leader of the country. Now, his chart is extremely hot and dry, Where he's sitting with his current luck cycle of the tiger is extremely hot. He is an earth person, like the United States is an earth entity, nourished by so much fire. His chart is extremely imbalanced, and I have wondered about his health and longevity in relation to that because of this particular year of the snake, which is really challenging his career and his welfare this year. So when we add the dog to this scenario for him, he gets a partial earth penalty. So whatever stress he's been under, and Lord knows that's got to be a lot, it's amped up. So for someone like him, and again, looking at his current health and also his age, if you're dialing up stress, you're also dialing up, because now he has a second full fire trio with this dog. His month of he's born in the month of the horse, and the luck cycle of the tiger. He's got a full fire trio. So it's kind of like, and I experienced this summer. If you've ever been in Phoenix in the summertime, it's like somebody just turned on the heat in your car. Okay. Full blast. Days for our leader. Ox days are going to give a full earth penalty. His chart is so inflamed right now. And monkey days are going to give him a full fire penalty because he's born in the hour of the snake. His current luck cycle being the tiger, which is part of the reason why so many legal things have been challenged, lost and won. But that's part of the chaos that he thrives in. It's a way of distracting you into creating a narrative that I really feel like is that wizard behind the curtain and the emperor with no clothes. It's a very, very much like that. And I would be saying that whether this was Joe Schmo down the street getting his astrology chart read, honest to God. So monkey days give him a full fire penalty that is detrimental to health, to finances, to your reputation, to legal issues. And some people, like I will say, I looked at Pam Bondi's chart. She's got a day of the pig and a year of the snake. She's somebody, I believe I have that right, but she is someone that some people's charts they come in with conflict. And so when you have two choices in the path of life with a chart like that, you either succumb to it and live a life of being a victim, right? Nobody really enjoys that journey, but that's your karmic path. But some people choose to, it's so interesting. I've seen this several times with people that are lawyers or in politics or even in medicine. They take that challenge in their chart and they use it to their advantage. It challenges them to fight harder, to take their internal conflict and turn it into an external remedy for others. It's an interesting story, that. So anyway, the point being, all this to be said, is the importance for you, again, not to bring the chaos home. So, it's kind of like when you've had a horrible job or a horrible day, don't bring it home. Leave it at the door. And I know it's really hard to do, but I'm going to tell you something. The more that you can breathe, do some mindful breaths, and mindful breaths, we talk about this, or you hear about this a lot. The 3-part breath is one of the best ways to calm your nervous system fast. You breathe into your belly, you lift the breath to your chest, and you take it up into your lungs and you hold it as long as you can and open your mouth and calmly exhale. You repeat 5 minutes if you have to. In your car, sitting in traffic. Before coming into your home, sitting in your car, knowing that you don't want to bring the toxic day into your home. When you hear things that are disturbing, breathe. When your nervous system and you feel so frazzled and overwhelmed by what is happening and what could be happening here, get into nature. Even if you live in the middle of a city, find a park, go sit with a tree. I'm not kidding. It is so helpful to sit with nature, close your eyes, do mindful breaths. Stay away from friends and family that have nothing to do but talk about this stuff. Stay away from day-to-day consumption of the media. Keep your TVs off from the onslaught of this narrative being told to us, because it's not helpful. And if you feel like I want to be doing something, do it on a local level. Coalitions get formed in times like this. Band together with like-minded people and see what you can do to change the narrative in your community, your city, your state. This is room for where we find our heroes and our helpers. Thinking of Mr. Rogers in this moment. Yeah, but in all the heat, temper and cool yourself, soothe yourself, pull into more daily self-care. And if you have a partner or a family, bring everyone in. What are the things that you can do as a couple, as a family, that help calm everyone down? Let's go get ice cream. Let's go for a hike on a Saturday afternoon. Let's watch a fun cartoon movie. Let's laugh. Let's go pick up trash in the streets. Right? What can we do? So that is my message for the update for the United States. We are going to be going through a real dissolving of, just like that analogy I gave you. If your house, your apartment across the street, they tear down the woods, you've got to watch it. But you cannot let that energy enter yourself and your home, your life. Go on and do your best in your day-to-day life to live more and more from a place of compassion, empathy, kindness, love that is all-encompassing without discrimination. When you do that, it shifts your life. I can tell you, long ago when I walked the path of Buddhism and yoga in my 30s, transformed my life, would never go back to the person I was before then. Far too reactionary, volatile, angry, and pointing fingers. It's far healthier to live from that place of loving kindness, connection to nature, connection to my breath and my life force, and honoring my mental health every day. And ensuring that the people and the community that I have around me is aligned with that authentic self. Okay. Trust that all the demolition and dissolving that we see happening, as painful and as upsetting as it is, trust that there will be the rebuilding. And maybe the forest got torn down to build something beautiful. Maybe it's an opportunity to come in and build a giant community garden. I don't know. I like to think optimistically. Your comments, your questions are always welcome. Please keep them kind and positive and respectful, always, always, with yourself, with others. And until next time, friends, please be well.